Hi everyone. So today we are going to talk about pain and suffering. So why does God allow pain and suffering in our lives? This question itself is flawed in so many ways because it carefully assumes that God is the one who is causing these calamities or these mental issues, health issues, world wars and poverty and all that stuff. It assumes that God is causing these things. Why are some people ask why are children dying of cancer? Why do you always assume that it is God is the one who is causing all these things? Why can't it be the devil? Or even the devil can cause problems in your life. Atheists say that I don't believe in God because how can a loving God cause so many problems to happen, all these problems to happen? How can a loving God allow such a thing to happen? Is what the atheists say. So if you take God out of the equation, if you assume that God doesn't exist, does the problem go away? Does all your problems go away if God doesn't exist? No, the problem still remains. So we have to accept that we are God's creation in a fallen world, and we have the free will to do things. Sometimes humans themselves inflict pain on others. That's because we have the free will. If God is a loving God, in order for love to function, we should have free will. You can't forcefully love someone. True love, it should happen naturally. You should have free will, whether to accept or to reject it. So that's how love works. You can't force anyone. So yeah, that's basically how it works. So God doesn't always cause suffering in our lives, but He sometimes allows it, because in your pain He wants you to rely on Him. He wants you to call upon His name and trust in His presence. Have faith in Him because He knows your future. God knows better than you. That itself explains the ripple effect theory. Whatever that is happening to you right now, maybe it might be a very horrible thing that you're going through right now. Maybe it could be shame, guilt, rejection and sadness, and heartbrokenness, abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, childhood trauma. All these things happen. You have to believe that all these things happen because in the future God has prepared something even more beautiful. Something beautiful is going to happen in your future. All these things add up. They add up in such a way that in the future you will realize that why these things had to happen. You will see the flow chart of why these things had to happen, and you will look back and you will thank God because it happened. The last year one of my friends told me that you have to be happy when you're going through difficult times. You have to be happy because something bigger is coming. A bigger blessing is coming in your life. God is preparing something much greater. A beautiful blessing is going to come in your life. That is why you're going through this right now. That's one of my friends told me that. And if you're patient enough to trust God, you will see the blessing. When I look back in my life, I don't have any regrets. Whatever happened in my past, I gratefully accept it. I gratefully accept that it is God's will in my life. Because if those things hadn't happened, I wouldn't be in the position right now, in the position that I am right now. I wouldn't have all these blessings in my life. All those things, all those horrible things that happened to me, the pain, everything was necessary to bring me closer to God and to bring me to this blessing that I have in my life right now. I don't have any regrets. I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't be the person that I am today if I hadn't gone through what I had gone through in my past. So everything is like it's a domino. It's a domino. It's carefully orchestrated by God. It's like how the silversmith holds the piece of silver, the piece of metal, right in the middle of the fire for it to purify. In the middle of the fire, where the fire is the hottest, to burn all the impurities away. And when you burn all that impurities away from silver, you get that pure piece of silver. On a fully refined silver, you see your image on it. So that is why God is putting us straight in the middle of the fire, so that He wants us to be purified by putting us straight in the middle of that fire, so that His image can be seen on our face, so that we may grow closer to Him. And in this purified image of ours, a Christ's face will be seen in our life. So whenever people look at our face, they will see God's image on our face. Whenever they hear us speak, they will hear God's words coming out of our mouths. So stop all this pathological rumination and obsession about the pain in your life, thinking that you are the only one who goes through this pain. Instead, stop being familiar with pain. Stop trying to live with this pain. This is not the end of your life. Stop, instead you try to be familiar with driving through the storm. Be familiar in resistance. Drive through the storm and get out of this comfort zone of pain. Last year I was talking to someone who was depressed, and I told that person to burst that bubble of depression, burst that bubble of pain, and thinking that you are the only one who went through this, and burst it, and you will see the grand scheme of things that is going to happen in your life. You will see the grand scheme of things that is already happening in your life. You will start to appreciate things, and for that to happen, you need a lot of faith and trust in God. And remember, the character of Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. The character of Jesus will always remain the same. Even in your suffering, it will be the same. Even in your healing, it will be the same. Just like in Romans 8:18, it's written, the pain of what you're going through is nothing compared to the joy that's coming. And even in Isaiah 43, it's written that when you pass through the waters, God will be with you. When you are passing through the fires, you will not be burnt. The fires won't consume you. That is, the flames won't consume you. That is a promise from God, a promise of His divine protection and His presence in your life. I love you guys. Take care.